Hello and welcome again to Not Fake News. We have two articles here. One is with Sheriff Clark in his march. Thousands march in Milwaukee to protest sheriff. And then we have another one. The Wall Street Journal, head of the Wall Street Journal, has to defend outlets neutral Trump camp coverage. So when the Wall Street Journal has to defend actual journalism, that's a problem. Okay? But let's start with this one. Okay. A crowd as many as 20,000 people. One moment. Okay. Crowd as many as 20,000 people in Milwaukee demonstrated against a possible immigration crackdown in a day without Latinos march Monday, according to the UK Daily Mail. They were protesting Sheriff David Clark's plan to enroll his deputies in a federal program that allows them to perform immigration law and enforcement functions. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office said that it hasn't actually sought the authority yet, but it may do so. Clark, a man impossible to bully, released a statement on the Facebook page last week regarding this event. Please accept my regrets. I will be working with agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, helping them identify criminal, illegal aliens, and therefore cannot attend your wonderful rally being held for me. Busloads of demonstrators from about a dozen communities around Wisconsin, sent by George Soros, arrived to swell the numbers of the local protesters. Okay, and if you didn't know who's sending them, that would be George Soros, this gentleman right here. That's his spiritual form, but he's got his hands on America like that, and he's just looking to take over and kill the world. But the Daily Mail reported that the crowd estimated between 10 and 20,000, and by that, and that's what they say. So if the Daily Mail reported that, and the mainstream media wants you to think it's 10 or 20,000, then it's probably like 100 or 200 people. So police consisted of parents with children in strollers. This is all the people that went there. Young men waving Mexican flags, and older protesters. Now, so basically, this little paragraph says everybody's into that. Old, young, mothers, fathers, young, old, whatever. And they're chanting, "Si podemos," or "Yes, we can." Milwaukee police officers blocked intersections to allow the massive crowd to move freely to downtown court. No arrests were made. What fascists these police are. Jose Flores, board president, Florentini, one of the groups organizing the march, said he's fearful and thought that the immigration law might actually be enforced. Oh, you're going to enforce the law? That is fearful to you, isn't it? And that the criminals might actually be arrested or deported? Many people's got to be afraid. That's what he wrote. I'm not saying that. Many people's got to be afraid. Like many families in this country, there are a lot of hard workers. They're not criminals. We're not criminals, Flores said. Well, some of them are, and they should have the right to face the legal consequences. But, hey, apparently enforcing the law is a fascist and racist thing these days. Some of the activists reported were also marching against President Trump, of course, stand on immigration. There's a lot to hate in this country. Now, with the new president, and, we march for that too, said Flores. Very true. There is a lot to hate in this country now with the new president. See, this last thing here is the type of left-siding comments that you get from this true revolt. It's a lot of truth and then a lot of, back truth, which is very true. There is a lot of hate in the country now with the new president. Well, you know what? There's a lot of hate, but it has nothing to do with President Trump. The hate was here when he got in. He's here to stop the hate. Next, the Wall Street Journal had to defend outlets because they were too easy on Trump. Boy, this guy's in a dilemma, isn't he? Just check out the length of here, what we're looking at, what we're dealing with. Gerard Baker, the editor-chief of Wall Street Journal, felt the need to defend his paper's coverage of President Trump on Monday because some journalists think he was too objective. An article in the New York Times details a recent town hall meeting with the Wall Street Journal staff in which Baker rebutted claims about the outlet has been too soft on Trump, the Times reports. Facing through questioning at the town hall-style meeting with staff, Mr. Baker denied that the journal had been too soft in its coverage, according to the several people who participated in the meeting. He suggested that other papers had discarded objectively and that anyone who wanted to work with an organization with more oppositional stance towards the administration could find a job elsewhere. Ooh, these people said. It is a little irritating when I read that we have been soft on Donald Trump, he said, according to 3 other people. During the meeting, which lasted more than an hour and a half, Mr. Baker addressed that the unease among some of the newsmen who feared that the paper was holding them back from aggressively covering Mr. Trump and that he might be playing a role in shaping more favorable coverage. Mr. Baker offered a different interpretation according to the 2 participants in the session. The administration wants to engage the news media in a battle, he said, and the journal should not become part of it. We can't allow ourselves to be dragged into the political process, to be a protagonist in the political fight, he said. According to one of those people, he said that Americans are already disgusted with the news media, and that if the journal covered Mr. Trump in an overly confrontational way, that distrust might increase. He joked that any story suggesting the journal had been soft in its coverage of Mr. Trump were akin to fake news. Apparently, the dust-up began 2 weeks ago when Baker instructed Wall Street Journal editors to not engage in the misleading language about Trump's executive orders on immigration. He asked them to avoid the phrase 7 majority Muslim countries, and clarified that in the order's language did not include such verbiage. There is no ban on a phrase Muslim majority country, he wrote, but always be careful that this term is not offered as only a description of the countries covered under the ban. Never mind that Baker is absolutely correct. We're fighting words to those who only care about churning out fake news. As someone who's followed the Wall Street Journal's Trump coverage throughout the primary and the presidential campaigns through today, I found its tone to be more in sync with the segment of anti-Trump establishment Republicans. We suppose that as long as an outlet isn't liking to the president, to Hitler, the mainstream media will consider that too soft. That's true. Well, thank you for watching. Subscribe below if you haven't already subscribed. Share this with your friends and family. And if you like what we're doing here at Not Fake News, please like the video. It's important to us and it means a lot. Thank you so much and have a great day. See you next time at The Real News, Not Fake News.